There is no way that this just happened. Is following a brutal offensive game for the Jays for the majority of this game. They come out and do the unthinkable. We're going to break down exactly what happened and discuss what this means going forward, as this was absolutely crazy. We also have a fantastic performance from a bunch of different players, and Alejandro Kirk in particular did something that was absolutely fantastic. A ton to go over today, as well as a couple unsung heroes. Before we get into it, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. You guys are beasts. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. The Jays are back in the win column. And keep in mind, this next stretch of games is going to be absolutely brutal for the Jays. They are going in a tough schedule, and they're playing one of the best teams, if not the best team in baseball, in the Detroit Tigers, especially as of late. And guess what they do? They squeak out a win. They had one hit going in to the 8th inning. In case you missed it, I got you covered all the way through. Let's start with the hitting today. Again, this was not an offensive firepower game by any means. Heading into the 8th inning, the Jays were down 1-0. 1-0. And the pitching staff in a bullpen day did their job. Was fantastic. And I was thinking, oh, this is one of the games that we saw in 2024, 2023, and even earlier on this year where they just get no offense going and a ton of just craziness. And guess what happens? It was not by the home run. It was by a bunch of different guys, and specifically, of course, Ernie Clement with the walk-off, which we'll dive into. But let's go down through the order here. So Bichette went 1 for 4. He's on a bit of a, hit streak here. He's playing very good baseball as of late, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. Vladdy, unfortunately, hitless. Dalton Varsho, he has been the unsung hero. I mean, there's a lot of unsung heroes. He has been the unsung hero of the Toronto Blue Jays team. And I mean, you're thinking about, Dalton Varsho. He was one of the reasons that this team, at the start of the year when he wasn't playing, was lacking a bit of, thump. And obviously, to say that Dalton Varsho is going to come in and save the offense prior to when he came back from his injury was a little bit crazy, but he's almost done that. He has a ton of home runs, and he got in the bottom of the 9th a 1-out double that won them the game ultimately, which we'll dive into in a minute here. And of course, they had to do a bunch of pinch hitting. And of course, Ernie Clement comes up with the walk-off single following Dalton Varsho's 2-out double in the bottom, or 1-out double in the bottom of the 9th. And of course, Alejandro Kirk with one of the best at-bats of the year to tie up the game in the 8th inning. He drove a single, looked a little bit, not hurt necessarily, but a little bit, was laboring a little bit there going to first base. But Alejandro Kirk in the 8th inning got an RBI single. And then in the 9th inning, again, Varsho with the double. But the Jays decide to pinch hit, and they had to because there's the pitcher spot, because Varsho got pinch hit for Straw, and then, of course, a bunch of different things. They decided to pinch hit Anthony Santander, who is out once again today due to an injury. And this situation keeps getting weirder and weirder, but he was out due to an injury. And I had a video covering it earlier this morning. Feel free to check that out after this one if you haven't already. He's dealing with some hip issue or something of that nature. And they decided to pinch hit for him. He's been ice cold prior to going in the IL. And then, of course, he's been pretty, he wasn't even healthy enough to play today. And John Schneider said that before the game. And A.J. Hinch decides to intentionally walk Santander to get Ernie Clement up. And then, of course, Santander took second base. Second and third with 2 outs for Ernie Clement, one of the hottest hitters right now in the Jays. Great fastball hitter, laces a single. The Jays win, and what a fantastic win it was. Very questionable decision by A.J. Hinch, but we take it as a Jays fan. The Jays now move to 1 game under 500. But that at-bat by Alejandro Kirk in the 8th inning was just absolutely fantastic. And he is batting an AL East best .324 with 2 strikes. You can see this here. Alejandro Kirk, a 1-out single. It was down the right field line. Could have been a double for most players, but a single, laces the ball. He has been the difference maker for this team. And obviously, the standings right now, the Jays, they've been winning some in spurts. They sweep the Mariners. They lose a couple here. They lose the series to the Rays, and then they lose game 1 to the Tigers. You just have to float, stay above water. And games like this where you come back and win, that is the Jays' 12th comeback victory among the leading in the AL and in the MLB. If the Jays can continue to just hover and just float until they get an easier stretch of the schedule, and they get some health back, and you get hopefully Santander starting to swing the bat a little bit more, and all these guys, you're going to be in fine shape. And treading water right now, that is the difference between this year and last year. You're continuing to win games, even though, it hasn't been the best, past handful of games. The Jays are now just 1 game under 500. Hopefully they can get back to 500 in tomorrow afternoon's game. But just a fantastic, fantastic game from start to finish for this team. And I am extremely, extremely happy. And also, we got to give a huge shout out to Nathan Lucas. He has been unbelievable. Back-to-back games with outfield assists, but this one was huge. So obviously, in case you missed it, in the bottom of the top of the 9th, with a man on first, Gleyber Torres, who was walked in 4 pitches by Jeff Hoffman, a fly ball to left field, and Nathan Lucas from deep in the left field corner guns Gleyber Torres out at second. I believe that is the second game in a row Nathan Lucas has gunned out Gleyber Torres specifically. He is out at second base, and then Jeff Hoffman gets out of the inning, and he's been struggling a little bit as of late. So to see him come back out and be able to do that is huge. And Nathan Lucas has been playing really good offensively, really good defensively, and it has shown. Of course, tonight he went 0 for 2, but man, what an exciting game, and one that's desperately, desperately needed. And speaking of desperately needed, you needed a good bullpen game today. This was going to rinse through the bullpen, but they got it done. Eric Lauer, I am fully happy with that outing. 3 innings, 1 run, a home run to Spencer Torkelson, 5 strikeouts, and just did his job. Yariel Rodriguez has quietly turned into like an unbelievable reliever, long relief, short relief, whatever it ends up being. Brendan Little, one of the best relievers in baseball. Chad Green, luckily, didn't give up a home run like he always does. And then Jimmy Garcia and Jeff Hoffman were nails. And they managed to get it done. You give this offense a chance to hit right now. And again, through 8 innings of this game, the Jays had 1 hit, and that was Bo Bichette's hit. Other than that, they had nothing. And then later in the game, you string together hits from, of course, whether that be walks, whether it be hits by Dalton Varsho. Just good baseball. And that has been the difference for this team between winning and losing, is playing good baseball. Obviously, Alejandro Kirk, Ernie Clement, Dalton Varsho, and they manufactured this run in the 8th inning. It was a walk and then a bunt, and then, of course, they pinch hit Alejandro Kirk. Alejandro Kirk wasn't playing to start the game. It was, of course, Tyler Heineman. Just fantastic from top to bottom. You cannot ask for a better, just not game necessarily, because the offense is pretty bad, but you manufacture runs, and these are the games that elite teams win. Am I calling the Jays an elite team? No, I don't think they're there yet, but they have the possibility to be. And I also got to shout out AJ Hinch for intentionally walking Anthony Santander, who's hitting 187, by the way. So a crazy, crazy game there. And again, with guys coming back, whether that be Jimenez, Ryan Burr, Eric Swanson, getting Andres Jimenez back in the lineup, Spencer Turnbull getting involved, Dalton Varsho, who is just off to an incredible start, an OPS above 900. He has been just such a treat to watch. And you see that and you compare it to how just fantastic his defense is. Fantastic trade. I know there's been a lot of, things online about the Dalton Varsho trade, and, Mike Wilner saying that, or Usher Downey, whoever it was, saying that the trade was horrible back in hindsight. It is what it is. The trade has been fantastic. And what a bullpen game for this Toronto Blue Jays team. I want you to let me know down below, did you lose faith? I'm starting to believe again. I mean, at this point, again, it's just 1 win. They lost 2 of their last 3 prior to this game. But the way the offense always fights back, their 12th comeback win, they've been beasts. I'm happy with it. And ultimately, if Alejandro Kirk can continue hitting like this, Dalton Varsho, all these guys, if everyone else starts to step up, specifically Anthony Santander has been really bad, I think this team is going to be in good shape, and hopefully Santander will be back for tomorrow's game against, once again, the Detroit Tigers. Take care of business, win this series, and hopefully the Jays can get back on track here and get above 500, because that's a curse they haven't, elevated to. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Whew, what a crazy game. Cheers.